Rawr. It's survival myth that would actually get you killed. Well, maybe it's not as helpful to escape or survive the big creatures, but it will definitely like, you probably won't die from the creatures at all. Then let's get it started.
Myths that would actually get you killed. You and your best bro are sitting on the couch watching TV, bored out of your mind. You're flipping through the channels when you see somebody you recognize. It's the British guy who goes outside and drinks his own pee for fun. After watching him squeeze elephant poop into his mouth to drink water, you decide to go outside and test your survival capabilities. And
Maybe we should consider not doing that. Chat, don't do that.
also test how real common survival knowledge really is in practice.
Alright, I'm here to learn something. I know nothing about survival. The only thing about survival I've seen was like a show on, I don't know, what was it, Animal Channel or anything like that, where they try to survive for multiple weeks, days, years, I don't know, somewhere in nowhere.
Because let's be real, whether you're an outdoorsy person or not, we've all heard survival tips at some point in our life. Are these tips that we've always just accepted as truth actually life-saving? Or could they potentially get you killed? And with you and your friends being inspired, you both pack your bags and head out the door for the adventure of a lifetime, not knowing whether
That would be so me.
or not this would be your last adventure. You were just dropped in an extremely remote location by a helicopter. And as you watch the helicopter fly off, you and your friend are now completely alone, left to your own devices, and your sole goal is to survive and make it home using only the knowledge that you've heard in passing. Before you and your friend can even take your first steps, you need to first understand what direction should you go. And before you could even think, your friend says, why don't we go north? And while you agree, you have a question. How do we know which way is north? But luckily, everybody knows if you want to know which direction is north, all you have to do is find a tree with moss on it, because moss will only grow on the north side of the tree.
Damn, is that true? No, that can't be real.
So you and your friend begin walking until you notice a tree that has moss growing on the bottom of it. And as you approach the tree, that you can see that the moss is in your direction, meaning that if you just do a 180 and start turning around, you'll be going north. Although, just to be sure, you take a quick look around the tree and realize that there isn't only moss on the north side, there's moss on the north, south, east, and west side.
Yeah,
This tree
moss
trunk
is
completely
everywhere.
covered in moss. And it's not the only one. All of these tree trunks have moss all over them, meaning that you have no idea which way is north. And also debunking this myth that moss is somehow a compass. But this myth isn't just straight out of a fairy tale. There is some basis of reality here, although it's just not fully accurate or reliable at all. According to Michigan State University, it is more likely for moss to grow more prominently on the north side of trees and rocks, although moss can grow basically anywhere, meaning that if you are using moss to navigate, you are setting yourself up for failure, and in a survival situation, setting yourself up for your own possible demise. And while I like organic stuff as much as the next person, I'm gonna stick to my GPS, or at least my compass, when it comes to navigation. Feeling slightly foolish and a bit betrayed, you and your friend decide to confirm which direction is north with
Isn't there like, can you just like walk into the right direction if you see like the sun? Isn't this an option to like at least somehow figure out which direction to go?
your compass and begin moving. So far, this walk is pleasant, and the forest that you guys are in is beautiful and lush. And the steps begin to fly by, and you and your friend are almost lost in conversation when your friend realizes something utterly terrifying. Because the vegetation on the ground is so lush, it's almost impossible to see what's lurking around your feet. And while your friend wasn't looking down, a venomous snake was able to slither onto his boot, up his pant leg, and wrap around your friend's thigh. But the snake didn't just end there. This snake, straight out of Data University, decided to bite your friend directly on the crotch.
Well, Chad, this must be painful, right? Right? Oh my.
And by the time you even noticed the snake wrapped around your friend's leg, it was too late, and your friend was screaming in agony. Fortunately, you were able to quickly grab the snake and throw it off into the wilderness. But now you are left with a massive problem. Your friend has just been bitten by a venomous snake. But fortunately, he has a survival tip. It's common knowledge that when somebody receives a venomous snake bite, the best thing to do is immediately suck out the venom, right?
Ah, Chad. I feel like this will definitely not work out.
It's only logical. The entry wound is still fresh. If you can pull the toxins directly out of the wound, you're only dealing with a small cut and not any venom being directly injected into your bloodstream. It's perfectly logical. And although the placement may be a bit unfortunate, you'd be willing to help your friend out if it was life or death. But in reality, this practice wouldn't be helpful at all. And here's how. Like I mentioned, it may seem initially logical that you would want to remove the venom by any means possible. And some people have even suggested that you should cut the injection site of the fang to make it bigger to be able to suck out more venom. But the reality is this: once a snake has bitten its victim, there is no way for you to suck out any meaningful amount of venom. And if you were to cut the bite location, you would only be making the wound bigger, causing a higher chance of infection. Speaking of infection, putting your bacteria-ridden mouth on your friend's fresh wound is only going to increase the chances of introducing bacteria
So all you do is just fuck it up. Is there even a way to deal with this kind of situation? Probably not.
directly into your friend's fresh wound. And while it is possible to suck out a small amount of venom, it is not going to be a large enough amount to save your friend's life. However, it could be a large enough amount to cause yourself serious bodily harm or potentially even death as well. So yeah, even though your friend was extremely keen on you removing the venom out of his wound the good old-fashioned way, you luckily both had access to Google just for this brief amount of time, and you were able to confirm.
Can I suck on my friend? Well, I mean, yes, if it's an emergency, probably you could do, I guess. You would just die.
That this practice was outdated and potentially deadly and fatal to both of you. And the best course of action would be to limit your friend's mobility.
Getting rid of the leg would help, I think. Wait, why would you think that getting rid of the leg will help if he gets bitten in the third leg?
This way, the venom would travel through your friend's body as slowly as possible, giving you the maximum amount of time to get antidote before things got fatal. However, due to plot armor, you had antidote on you and you were able to heal your friend without doing any sort of mouth-to-wound
practical.
suction. After you administer the antidote and you allow your friend to bandage himself up, you both continue on your trek through the woods, feeling better and grateful to be alive, but also feeling more betrayed, because so far, everything you thought you knew was wrong. But before you and your friend could continue to complain about how crazy that entire ordeal was, you run into a much bigger problem. A 750-pound problem that's looking
Damn, we're going straight into Attack on Titan here. Of course, I always carry an antidote with me. Sure, this is how we survive all these scary situations. We just cheat, we just hop on game mode quickly, game mode 1, and creative mode chilling, getting the antidote and getting all the other stuff we need.
you right in the face. This problem is an adult, aggressive black bear.
Oh,
Your
it's a
first
bear.
instinct is to run the opposite way, but before you could even turn, your friend whips his arm around and clenches your arm tightly, holding you in your place. You look your friend in the eye and he tells you, "Are you crazy, man? We can't run away. We have to act like we're already dead." And with your friend's iron grip being on your arm, you have no other option but to lay down beside him. And now the both of you are laying on the ground with a 750-pound black bear slowly approaching your position. You and your friend at this point may be feeling like you just saved your lives. You outsmarted the black bear, and in a few minutes you'll be back well on your way. But in reality,
Yeah,
you just made the
sorta.
black bear's life a lot easier and served him up 2 meals on a silver platter. I think most of us at some point have heard, if you see a bear, just play dead. But I think at this point, hopefully most people know that there is definitely some nuance to that. Specifically, that advice does not apply to all bears. Black bears, for example, do not take well to people playing dead. And this is exactly why the bear is currently shaking your friend in his mouth like a dog that just got a new chew toy.
Wait, which one should you fight back? If it's black, fight back, right? Yeah, sure. Yes, I think it was. You should like hit the black ones. You should like. What was with the brown ones? Run away, and the white ones. You're just dead or something like that.
Black bears are notoriously aggressive, and if you encounter one, your best course of action is 1, slowly retreat if it doesn't notice you, but if it is fixated on you, your best next steps are to get as big and aggressive as possible. Obviously, you can't fight this bear, but you want to make this bear believe that it's not even worth fighting you. You want to extend your arms and legs outward, look big as possible, yell, sound aggressive, do anything to intimidate this bear. And
Damn, Chad, I could definitely get rid of a bear like this. They will come like approach me slowly, and I'm just being like, "Rawr, rawr," and he gets so terrified. He will leave. He will, I don't know. He will give me a present. He will apologize to me for scaring me.
And if you're convincing enough, you may even scare the bear in this process. Grizzly bears, on the
Rawr.
other hand, are a bit different. Experts say that grizzly bears respond better if you actually do lay down on the ground, although it's best if you protect your neck just in case and remain still until the bear checks you out and hopefully leaves you alone. And if you happen to end up in a situation where you're face to face with a polar bear, your best bet is to pray. Because polar bears are like black bears, but worse. They are the most aggressive.
They're so big and they're strong and they just crush you and um yeah, they will enjoy you as a snack.
And the most likely to tear your head off. So yeah, although the advice of playing dead around a bear isn't fully inaccurate, it once again definitely requires some additional context. The current popular saying is, if it's brown, lay down, if it's black, fight back, and if it's white, good night. Not because you're supposed to play dead.
Oh yeah, good night. I mean, they're really adorable. They're really cute. Just big white floofs. Imagine just this bear laying on the floor or like just on the ground, and you just lay on them like a big bean bag, just a furry, fluffy bean bag. Ah, oh my, that would be so adorable.
But because you're going to be dead. As you continue to lay motionless on the ground, you peek open one of your eyes to see what's going on. You notice that the black bear has dropped your friend and was distracted by something else, and luckily left you both alone. Your friend, while a little bit worse for wear, is still alive, and you help get him back on his feet, and you once again continue your journey. Feeling a bit bad for your friend, because at this point it looks like he survived 3 rounds with Mike Tyson, 4 days with Diddy, and 5 nights at Freddy's, you decide you would let him take a quick breather and go around gathering some food. Your friend sits down on a rock under a tree, and you decide to go and see what you can find. And once you begin wandering around looking, you realize one crucial thing. You have no idea what's edible or not, and you don't even know what's around you, but that doesn't stop you from looking. And quickly you find yourself approaching some interesting red mushrooms.
I mean, I don't know much about mushrooms. I really know nothing about them. But oh my, having like a mushroom like this, I wouldn't even try to eat it. This one looks this looks some more than poisonous.
Now, you know mushrooms can definitely be questionable, but the fact that you see a little snail munching away at these gives you hope. And as you pick these mushrooms, you notice that there's actually small bite marks from chipmunks. This gives you all the confidence you need to pick a few mushrooms and put them in your pocket and to continue scavenging. You continue looking around when you notice a small bush with inconspicuous red berries. You've never
Berry
seen these berries
also,
before,
yeah,
but it
sure.
doesn't mean that you can't eat them. And while you're cautious of these mysterious red berries, you notice a small bird fly down into this bush and carefully eat these berries before flying away. And once again, you rationalize with yourself, well, if this animal can eat this, obviously I can. If something was poisoned,
If they can, I can, sure. Source, trust me, bro. Yeah, so that's highly poisonous.
to them, they wouldn't eat it. So
I
you
mean,
go
I
ahead
think
and
it's one
collect
of
some of these
those.
berries as well. And you notice that you've been scavenging for hours. So you decide to return to your friend and show him your loot. Your friend doesn't seem too enthused by the small handful of random mushrooms and red berries, but something is better than nothing. And you and your friend begin to
Ah, the loot table is decent. I mean, after this awful day, it seems to be like pretty decent to eat something, right?
munch on the world's weirdest trail mix. Feeling energized from the food and also feeling energized mentally that you finally had some knowledge that was true, you and your friend both have a bit more of a pep in your step because you knew that you had at least some right information, right? That is until you realize your friend is looking in 2 directions and you're foaming at the mouth. In shock, you try to say something to him when all you can get out is a jumbled mess of slurred words, and you and your friend both pass out face down on the 4th floor. The survival technique of eating what animals ate failed you both. And the reality is, animals are just better than you. And just because the animal can eat it doesn't mean you can eat it at all. Just think about it. Every animal has developed its own unique way of digestion, and the things that our bodies are able to safely process and consume typically come from thousands and thousands of years of consumption. And on top of this, some animals are just built different. Like cows, for example, they have 4 stomachs, and every animal processes the same foods differently. The bird that ate those red berries, for example, was able to pass the toxic seeds from those berries directly through its digestive digestive system without any issues. And those seeds that are now a part of its excrement are now replanted and continuing the life cycle of those berries. But in your case, those seeds have been cracked open by your teeth and are now infecting your entire body with deadly toxins. And the chipmunk that was taking
So what happens if I just swallow the berries, asking for a friend?
bites out of that small red mushroom has a specialized stomach acid that can neutralize the toxins within this deadly mushroom. However, you simply do not have the facilities to handle that. And the same mushroom that gives that chipmunk life gave you and your friend a near-death experience. Just because you saw an animal eating something does not mean it's not deadly for you. After a few hours being passed out on the floor, you and your friends slowly come to and pick yourselves up off the ground. Nonetheless, you and your friend decide it's time to get serious because the sun is soon setting and you guys need to eat food. As you slowly approach it and peek over some bushes, you see a lonely old caribou walk slowly into
Ah, they're so nice. Look at him. What a cutie.
it collapses right before your eyes.
And he
while
died.
this is an unfortunate sight for you and your friend, this could be life or death. And in this instance, having an endless supply of high quality food in front of you is something you and your friend couldn't have even imagined. You both approach the caribou to ensure that it's no longer with you. And once you have that confirmation, you begin to prepare the animal. Fortunately, for once, you were able to put useful knowledge to good use. And shortly after preparing the animal, you and your friend are sitting at a campfire under a tree, under the stars, eating your first meal in what feels like forever. But as good as having a hearty meal feels,
What do you mean the first meal? The first meal was the nice berries and the mushrooms. And if we like be really, the guy in the red cap, he had something for to food earlier from his friend. Crazy work. To be honest, am I the only one that doesn't like roasted marshes? I mean, I haven't had them in many years, so I'm not quite sure. But I think I think they're okay.
and as confident as you feel knowing you have a nearly endless supply of food, the reality is that you're not set for food at all. And while you might not realize it now, in the near future, eating this food alone could easily kill you. And the reason is simple but interesting. And it all comes down to biology. Your body simply can't digest protein without fat. And if your diet only consists of protein with no other micronutrient, your body could literally starve or develop protein poisoning. The term for this situation is called rabbit starvation, or the French Canadian term caribou sickness, but they both refer to the protein poisoning I just mentioned. But the reality is if you are only eating direct, big game, lean protein, you are setting yourself up for failure. And it's because of this very real caribou sickness that beavers were extremely valuable to North American indigenous people, because beavers had such high amounts of fat, which is why beaver hunting and trapping was so important, not just for pelts, but also for fat, so that this fat could be consumed, allowing your body to properly digest the protein from the big game you also caught. Black bears are also a great source of animal fats, although
Sorry, chat. Who comes and fight a bear with me to get some nice, tasty steaks out of him? Who wants to fight with me? Who wants to fight for me?
it's much easier to trap a beaver than a black bear for reasons we discussed earlier. But yeah, if you tried to live solely off of a big game carcass, you would soon find yourself suffering from a strange form of starvation, simply because your body needs protein, but it also needs other macronutrients to properly absorb and process this protein. Luckily for you and your friend, you're both blissfully ignorant to this fact, and you wouldn't be eating off this carcass for long enough to experience these symptoms. And after both of you have successfully filled your bellies, you decide that it's time to get some rest. You suggest to your friend that maybe you guys should build a quick shelter, just something to keep you guys safe. But your friend tells you that that's a waste of time and energy, and that you guys need to conserve your calories as much as possible right now. And you both simply lay down on the ground and close your eyes to sleep. But that sleep
Damn, I could never sleep just like on stone on dirt. I'll never. I need some comfy for EPs.
isn't peaceful at all. And only a few hours into your sleep, you wake up freezing cold, colder than the air temperature outside, and you're kind of at a loss. And the reason is rather simple. Laying directly on cold ground is a great way to rapidly reduce your body heat. Literally because the ground is stealing heat from your body and lowering your core body temperature, causing you to burn more calories to try to heat yourself back up, while also absorbing all of the extra heat that your body is generating. So in a cold environment like the one that you're in at night, you could not only lose body heat, but also experienced hypothermia just by laying on the bare ground, which is why you'll see outdoorsy people swear by a ground mat. Consider it insulation to keep your body
Yeah, ground mat or some kind of isomat needed. Don't lay on the floor.
heat within you and not being stolen by the ground beneath you. And now that you understand that collecting debris to lay on is a worthy investment of calories, you quickly put together a bundle of grass and leaves to make something soft, but also to make something to insulate your body heat. And you make a makeshift mattress that's large enough for both you and your friend. And you roll your friend onto it, you lay beside him, conserving body heat, and you close your eyes and
Aw, how cute. Going to spoon for a little bit, laying outside on the ground. Aw, adorable.
experience your first bit of rest. The following morning, you decide it's time to start your day and continue your adventure. You begin to inform your friend about last night's discovery and how sleeping on the ground is not okay. But before you can even finish making your point, your friend stops you and points ahead. Because what stands in your way is something you haven't noticed until now. A massive snow-capped mountain. And
No, no snow. Snow is evil. This is not really a survival tutorial. It is like survival myth that would actually get you killed. Source, trust me, bro. Something like that. Snow. No snow.
there's no way around it. You and your friend now need to begin hiking. Luckily, you and your friend are energized from a good night's sleep and at least some sort of food that doesn't almost kill you. And as you and your friend begin to climb through this mountain, the temperatures begin to get lower and lower. And it's at this point when you're able to make the point to your friend that body temperature is something you guys need to keep in mind in these survival situations. But as your friend brushes off your concern about body temperature, he tells you the only thing you guys should be concerned about right now is water. You begin to get nervous because now that you're halfway up this mountain and surrounded by snow, there's no water around you. But your friend laughs at you and reminds you that this snow is water. He grabs a handful of snow off the ground, which appears to be untouched, and begins to chow down on his solid water. And while
Well, I mean, it is the water somehow, but I feel like this is not how it works. It's cold.
to most, this seems completely safe and logical. This is definitely not the most ideal way to consume water. The first risk that this poses is that this snow or ice could actually cause micro tears or cuts in your mouth, which could definitely cause problems down the line. But more importantly than that, consuming ice directly is a surefire way to lower your core body temperature, causing your body to work overtime to heat itself back up. Your friend may think that body temperature isn't an important ordeal, but you know that it's nothing to laugh at. And at this very moment, hypothermia is a much bigger risk to you than being dehydrated. But unfortunately, your friend is in a bit of a pickle. Because yeah, he was able to hydrate himself through all of the snow he just ate, but he's now shivering uncontrollably and he's hungrier than he was yesterday because his core body temperature has been lowered and his body is consuming as much calories as it can to heat itself back up. Now, you're thirsty as well, but you're not willing to go through that entire experience. And what you do is a lot more wise. You remember watching the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel, and luckily you had the same supplies that he did. You scoop up
Oh damn, luckily we somehow get crazy work. Sorry, the other one would just roll out some snow while they have a little oven or heater with them. Sorry.
snow into some sort of metal tin, you put it over top of a propane heater, and you allow the snow to melt, and then you consume the pre-melted, ideally room temperature water, allowing your body to not have to reheat it once it's consumed. Your body can simply use it as is. And the benefit of using this method as well too, assuming you have access to some sort of heat source, is you can actually kill any bad bacteria. But assuming that's not a risk here, you're able to at least avoid the whole hypothermia your friend is now fighting. After this whole water debacle, you realize that your friend's only chance of regaining any sort of heat is by continuing to move. So you keep on your path going over the snow-capped mountain. Unfortunately, your friend is no longer shivering, but you and your friend are now facing a much different issue. You and your friend are now both sweating, which is good. Body heat at this point is not a concern at all. This shouldn't be an issue. And sure, you might smell a little bit later, but what is an issue is the base layer of what you and your friend are wearing. Before you even left, you and your friends were debating on whether or not you should wear your clothes in a certain order. And your friend, obviously being a bit more reckless, said it didn't matter at all. So we started by putting on a cotton undershirt, a cotton hoodie, and then put a jacket over top that was waterproof to help keep water out. You, on the other hand, wanting to be different, decided to wear a base layer that was more moisture wicking, but still followed that up with another hoodie and a waterproof jacket. Now here's the difference. While you and your friend are still sweating now, as soon as you guys stop and your body heat begins to go down, the sweat trapped in your clothes is going to be deadly. And if your base layer is made of cotton, that sweat isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And after hours of hiking, you and your friend decide to take a break break, and you guys experience the effects of this firsthand. After only
Damn it, you're just ending up being a, a frozen statue. Oh my.
sitting for around 15 minutes, your friend is not only cold once again, but he is shivering worse than he was before. And like I mentioned, that's because now his cotton shirt is drenched with sweat. And when cotton gets wet, it loses its ability to
I
insulate
never
you,
thought
meaning
about
that your
that.
friend has effectively put a cold conductor directly on his body, and also effectively removed a layer, making him at risk once again for hypothermia. Luckily for you, you unintentionally decided to dress and act appropriately. You didn't wear a cotton base layer, meaning that by the time you already sat down and relaxed, your shirt was slightly wet in your armpits, but the rest of your shirt was able to dry relatively quickly. And also, as you were hiking up the mountain, you decided to remove layers, allowing yourself to not get too hot or sweaty. And that is the reason why you're not experiencing hypothermia right now. Because as you can tell, getting sweaty in a cold survival
I thought they were both on experience, but no, the red one is just cheating all the time. This is kind of unfair. I feel a little bad for the green silly creature.
situation could be life or death. And a good rule of thumb is, if it's cold enough to wear multiple layers, it's too cold to wear a cotton-based layer or cotton at all. And while it may seem counterintuitive to remove layers when you're in a cold environment, if you are exerting energy and on the verge of sweating, it is best to remove these layers to prevent sweating as much as you can. As thick as your friend's plot armor is, he is struggling at this point, and still somehow alive. He is dealing once again with hypothermia, and you guys
Damn, can we just free him? I feel like he doesn't want to suffer anymore. He went through so much the last, I don't know, 20 minutes. I feel so bad for the green one. Just let him go.
have no access to fire or anything to warm him up. Your friend randomly asks you if you have any alcohol on you, and coincidentally, you did. You had a small bottle of some pretty strong alcohol in your backpack, and you wondered why he wanted it. But before you could even ask him what he wanted it for, he grabbed the bottle out of your hands and chugged it. After wiping his mouth, he tells you that obviously drinking alcohol warms you up. It makes you feel warmer and increases your body temperature. And while I believe this is a myth we've all heard, it's been debunked numerous times, and it also is completely counterproductive. The origin of this myth is actually interesting and comes from a Saint Bernard dog that was carrying a brandy flask.
Hell yeah, this is a Swiss dog. They know ball. We just have dogs running around with some Baileys or alcohol.
Around its neck, and this dog was savoring people that was buried in the French Alps. And unfortunately, this brandy may help you feel better, but definitely won't make you better. If you've experienced the alcoholic beverage, then you've probably noticed the sensation at some point of warmth. And this isn't because the alcohol is raising your body temperature, it's actually because the alcohol is making your blood vessels dilate, stimulating the nerve endings in your skin. But it doesn't actually increase your body temperature. And if you are in a cold environment that is specifically life or death, this dilation of the blood vessels will cause your body temperature to fall and likely cause you to die much faster than you would have if you just stayed sober. So although alcohol may give you the simulation of warming up and potentially take your mind off of the pain you're in, it's definitely not doing you any favors in the survival department. Realizing the severity of the situation, you come to the conclusion that you need to get out of this mountain quick. And while your friend is incapacitated and breaths away from death, you realize your best bet was to turn your friend into a toboggan and ride him down the mountain like Mrs. Kwan in the Cat in the Hat movie. And in only a few minutes, you went from the top of the snow-capped mountain to a place you weren't in yet. You weren't in the forest anymore. You were on a beach. And luckily, it was warm enough to help you and your friend feel better, and you noticed that you were on an ocean. And this ocean could be your ticket to freedom. With both you and your friend being on your last brain cells, you both intuitively build a raft with absolutely no plan of going anywhere and no knowledge on any sort of nautical construction.
Damn, I would be a professional. I've played through Raft once. I played through the whole game. I feel like me on Raft, this will work out, right, Chad? I feel like I'm a professional on here.
You make a makeshift raft and set sail, hoping that maybe somebody on the water will see you and save you. After hours of sitting on your raft, you and your friend are once again hungry. And while your friend is still sobering up, you decide your best bet is to look for some fish. You take a dive off your raft and you find yourself surrounded by a school of fish, but you're unable to catch any. That is, when you look through the school of fish and notice that a large shadow is approaching you. This isn't a big fish. This is a shark. and it's coming directly for you. You have nanoseconds to try to decide what your next move would be. And the first thing that comes to mind is movies and TV shows showing you that if you punch a shark, you're gonna be all right. So quickly and intuitively, as the shark approaches you, you don't move out of the way, you simply assume a karate stance and prepare to punch the shark. Now here's the deal. If you were actually going to go through with this, there's two likely outcomes. The first is that you are able to successfully punch the shark and scare it away, similar to the black bear, making it seem like you're not worthy prey. But the more likely outcome is that you extend your arm and have your arm ripped off by a shark and then have the rest of your body consumed shortly after. Underwater, you have almost no strength whatsoever. Like, just try throwing a full force punch next time you're in a pool underwater. It's gonna do almost nothing. And besides this, sharks are ruthless killing machines. Even if you could throw your strongest punch at a shark, it's not going to be phased. Combine that with your lack of agility in the water and the shark's endless agility in the water, your strike effectiveness in even misdirecting the shark is extremely low. If a shark was in your area, you could easily push it out of your way or misdirect it by
Chat, local shark girl in your area. That's me.
pushing its head if you had the leverage to do so, but even that is potentially risky. But in the situation when a shark is coming at you with the intent of damage, your best bet is to attack sensitive areas, specifically by plunging your thumb into the shark's eye or gills. Really, the only two areas where you can cause significant damage and at least make the shark retreat temporarily. And so, in a last-minute split decision, you decide not to punch the shark, but to actually poke it in the eye, causing the shark to cry and turn around, leaving you alone, and giving you the chance to climb back on the raft with your friend. At this point, you and your friend have
Damn, they too just have plot armor. There's no way they're still alive. No, you're way too far to be considered local. No, I'm literally the local shark girl. You can't take this from me.
been through hell and back. Your friend more so than you, but you are both now laying on your back, looking up at the sky, exhausted. And at this point, accepting your fate and understanding that maybe this trip was a mistake. And as you slowly close your eyes and take what appear to be your last few breaths, you notice a white light appear in your vision. A light that is so bright and so inviting. And you hear a noise, an almost angelic noise. And before you get the chance to meet your maker, you are hit in the testicles by a rope ladder that was dropped on your raft. And you realize that this light was a spotlight from the same helicopter that dropped you off. And while the pain you are experiencing is unbearable, you realize that you and your friend are finally saved. You both climb the ladder and board the helicopter and feel like you have been given a second chance at life. As you both are flying home with the crew, the pilot asks you how your trip was and if you guys were able to enjoy the park that they left you in only a few miles out of town. And you and your friend look at each other and decide that it's better if you kept your stories to yourself and just told them you guys had fun, but that you wouldn't be returning anytime soon. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. If you enjoyed this video, check out the video on screen. It's a video I made about the worst times to ever...
Yeah, they definitely had the time of their life. I mean, they started off. What was the order? I don't know. They had issues really early. Like, he had to suck off his friend, or at least he did. He didn't really have to. They got food poisoned. They got the water. They froze to death. They had a rough time there. Not gonna lie.